How's it going, everyone? Welcome back to another video. So you guys seem to really love the last tips and tricks videos that I did. They got pretty popular in the algorithm. They brought in a lot of new subscribers. So as always, if you guys enjoy these tips and tricks videos, please give it a thumbs up. It helps me out, it helps the channel grow, and it lets me know that you guys want to continue to see this kind of stuff on this channel. So in the previous video, I just did a mixture of just a bunch of different tips and tricks. But in this video, I want to focus just on the heroes and the villains. So I've gathered quite a few tips for you guys. I'm just going to name these off kind of rapid fire. I don't have any particular order with these, and I don't cover every single hero, but I cover most of them in this video. Some of these heroes are pretty straightforward. There's not really any tricks to them, like what you see is what you get. But a lot of these heroes have abilities that you might not know about, or have these little tricks that you could do with their abilities to make life just a little bit easier. But with that said, let's just get right into it. So to start us off, we have Palpatine. A lot of new players don't realize this about Palpatine, but he has the ability to use two-handed lightning. You control his right hand with the right trigger and his left hand with his left trigger. This is probably the #1 mistake that new players make when they choose Palpatine, because in Battlefront 2015, if you held in the left trigger, he had a block. Well, in this game, he doesn't have a block. So a lot of people run around just using the right trigger, and they don't realize that they're not using Palpatine to his full potential. You can essentially double his damage if you use both triggers at the same time, if you control the left and the right hands. And then another tip for Palpatine is that you can use your chain lightning while you're doing other abilities. You can essentially use all of your abilities at once with Palpatine, and that's one of the reasons that he's so overpowered in this game, because you can basically one-shot kill people. If you're hitting someone with both the left and the right trigger, you can also tap the left bumper and activate his chain lightning ability. So you're shocking him with both hands and chain lightning at the same time. Not to mention, this also works with Dark Aura. So you can turn on Dark Aura, electrocute them so they can't escape, hit them with both triggers, and use chain lightning all at the same time on one opponent. You can also use chain lightning as you're dashing. If you tap the chain lightning button as you're dashing, it will proc the ability. That way, as soon as you are done with the dash, he will activate the chain lightning. That way you can kind of multitask and escape, and then as soon as you're done dashing, you'll instantly attack your opponent. And then next up, we have Phasma's turret. Just a few updates ago, they gave Phasma the ability to pick up and move her turret. Well, she has quite a few star cards, and I thought originally that when you picked up the turret, the star cards remained active. If you get 3 kills, it increases the range that the droid can reach opponents. And then there's another star card where if it shocks 3 different opponents in its radius, it increases the duration of the shock. Well, this actually gets reset when you pick up the droid. So if you get 3 kills, pick up the droid, and then place it down again, you have to get 3 more kills to see the range actually get increased. I honestly think that they should change this because her droid is very situational. You're constantly picking it up and moving it, especially if you're playing Galactic Assault. So I think it kind of defeats the purpose of those star cards. But in case you guys didn't know, it does reset that. And then another thing about Phasma's turret is that you can actually detonate it. If you don't want to pick it up, you can actually just blow it up yourself. And this actually does a decent amount of damage. You can use this in combination with other abilities. For example, if the droid stuns somebody, you can then choose to detonate it and do extra damage to those that are already stunned. And then next up we have Count Dooku, and Count Dooku has a star card called Initiative, and that is where every 15 seconds Count Dooku's basic attack will be a critical strike dealing extra damage. This cooldown is reduced by 1 second for every successful lightsaber attack. Now I really love this card with Count Dooku because when it is active it will one-shot kill infantry. It does a lot of damage, and this in combination with his other abilities is just deadly, especially against other heroes. It packs an incredible punch, especially if you have it fully upgraded. It does an extra 50 damage. It's insane. But they actually added this in a recent update where if you look at the little dot in the middle of your screen, the reticle will have a little circle around it when the ability is active. So when you get a critical hit, that circle will go away, and then when it recharges after 15 seconds or less, depending on how many lightsaber strikes you do, that circle will then come back. And this will also stack with his Duelist ability. So if you activate Duelist while you already have the Initiative critical strike stored, you will then get 2 circles, so you will do even more damage. So just a heads up, if you like to use that star card with Count Dooku, that is what that little circle means. And then up next we have Boba Fett. Now the key to mastering Boba Fett is figuring out how to manage your jetpack fuel. If you did not know, when you activate the middle ability for the hunt, it temporarily gives you unlimited jetpack fuel. So I activate this anytime I'm about to get into battle or anytime I need to escape from battle. It's nice to have unlimited fuel. And then if you combine this with some of his fuel cards, the longer that you stay in the air, the better. So when you play as Boba Fett, just get the timing down for the hunt ability, because it can really come in handy to have that unlimited fuel. And then another tip for Boba Fett is that he can actually one-hit kill with his flamethrower when it comes to infantry. So this is pretty handy. I would not recommend using the flamethrower against any other hero though. It is a last resort when it comes to fighting other heroes. You do not want to take on a saber hero with your flamethrower. You might be able to get away with facing another blaster hero, but even then it's still very, very risky. Boba Fett does not have very much base health. He cannot take hits. So if you try to go in against somebody with a lightsaber, you are most definitely going to lose. But if you happen to run out of fuel when you land in front of a bunch of regular infantry, you can one-hit kill them with your flamethrower. And then next up for Darth Vader, if you activate his focused rage ability while you're swinging your lightsaber, it will cancel the animation. Normally when you activate focused rage, he does this little animation where he raises up his fist, and that leaves you vulnerable to getting shot by opponents. Well, if you activate it during the same time that you're swinging, you can essentially do two things at once. You're attacking somebody, and you're essentially giving yourself a health buff at the same exact time. A lot of people during Heroes vs. Villains or in 1v1 encounters will wait for you to activate that, and they see that as an opening to attack because you're stuck in that animation. Well, if you can completely bypass doing that animation, then this is a good way to get the upper hand on your opponent. And then when it comes to his saber throw, if you didn't know, you can actually throw it while you're in mid-air. A lot of Force users cannot activate their Force powers while they're in air. Darth Vader is one of those that has the exception, so you can throw while you're in the air, but keep in mind that Darth Vader cannot throw his saber through bubble shields. So if you see an officer shield or Leia's shield, your saber cannot go through it. And then we have Kylo Ren. Speaking of using abilities in air, Kylo is one of the few that actually can. He can use both his pull and his freeze while he is in mid-air. This is really handy. It catches people off guard. You can jump straight up in the air. They have to then look up into the sky to hit you, but then you can pull them straight to you, or you can freeze them as they're beneath you. There's a ton of different combos you can do with Kylo by just jumping and pulling or freezing, and it's a great way to catch the opponent off guard. And then for Darth Maul, he can also throw his lightsaber while he is in mid-air, which can come in handy. It's always a good idea to constantly be jumping and staying on the move when you're a lightsaber hero. So being able to jump above opponents and then hitting them from above with a lightsaber is really deadly. And then if you did not know, right as you land, you can actually activate the choke animation a little bit early with Darth Maul. So if you jump straight up into the air and right as you're landing, you can catch people off guard because you can start choking them before you even hit the ground. This can come in handy in catching people off guard, and you can kind of get two birds with one stone. And then we have General Grievous. If you guys did not know, with his Claw Rush ability and his Unrelenting Advance, you can actually cancel them early. If for any reason you are stuck in the ability and you have to escape, maybe somebody got behind you or somebody's throwing grenades at your feet when you're doing Unrelenting Advance, you can then cancel the ability to make a quick escape. Same with Claw Rush. When you activate Claw Rush, you can cancel it at any time just by tapping the button again. And then with the Claw Rush ability, if you're lucky, you can knock somebody over, and if you have the momentum, you can knock them forward and hit them a second time with the same Claw Rush, doing double the damage. So the Claw Rush ability is very, very dangerous. It's a great move when you have like a tight hallway and you can just take out multiple people at once. And then it also comes in handy to make quick escapes. It's a really great move. And then depending on which star cards you use for Grievous, he can almost one-hit kill with every single one of his abilities. There's a star card for Grievous where he does extra damage with Claw Rush. There's another one where he does extra damage with Unrelenting Advance. And then there's one where he does extra damage with his Thrust Surge. So depending on what loadout you want to go with, you can pretty much insta-kill infantry with any one of his abilities. And then up next we have Iden Versio. We'll start with her pulse cannon. A lot of new players don't understand how her pulse cannon works. The reticle for it is kind of weird, but basically when you're aiming this thing, you want to put the very tip of the triangle at the very center of your scope on the target. That is the point where the bolt is going to make contact to your opponent. And then as for charging it up, there are two different lines. When you hold it in to charge it, that is the first line. That shows you that it is ready to fire once it's charged up all the way. And then the second line, that shows you how long you have until it overheats and automatically fires. So charge it up with the first line, and then the second line shows you how long you have to actually fire your weapon. And then the next tip for Iden, which is kind of obvious, but you cannot use her droid when it is away from you. So if you send it off to shock somebody, you cannot activate your shield until the droid returns. Now there is about a 1 second delay that you can activate it a bit early. You can actually turn on your shield before it fully connects to your back again. So if you kind of spam the shield, you can activate it a little bit early before the droid comes back. But just keep in mind that while your droid's out shocking, you are susceptible to damage and you won't be able to use your shield. But it does work in the opposite way. If you have your shield active, you can cancel your shield by sending your droid out to go shock opponents. I think this is a great way to catch people off guard. If you have your shield on, then people will most likely like to come up and melee attack you, and then once they get close to me, that's when I like to shock them with the droid. And then moving on to Luke Skywalker. Luke can actually use his push in mid-air, if you did not know. And if you're using Luke's push while in the air, it actually gives you higher jump distance. So you can use Luke's push to either get you to higher places when you jump, or you can just catch people off guard and kill them while you're in the air. And then if you did not know, you can also preload his abilities. And by that, I mean while you're jumping, if you push the dash button while you're in the air, you have about a second or two that you can preload the ability. So while you're in the air, you press the dash button, and then when you land, he will activate it. This is good for making quick escapes. This is good for catching enemies off guard, and then this is just good for doing a bunch of different combo moves. So I constantly like to jump, and then as I jump, I land, and I go straight into the dash by preloading that dash ability. It just makes it harder for Luke to be hit as a target. And you can do the same thing with repulse. If you jump, you can hit the repulse button, and then that will sort of preload the ability, and then when you land, he will do the repulse animation. And then up next, we have Chewbacca. If you did not know, you can actually slam with Chewbacca early at any time. If you activate his slam, you do not have to wait for the entire animation. You can tap it again, and he will activate it early. And then let's say you need Chewbacca slam here in a quick pinch. Say you're completely surrounded. Well, you can completely bypass the animation by just jumping and then hitting the slam button, and he will slam in place. This is really, really handy if you're being surrounded by saber heroes and you just need to quickly get off a slam. It can save you a couple seconds, and as we all know, every second counts when you're surrounded by opponents. And then when it comes to Chewbacca's crossbow, he has a few different ways that he can fire it. If you just go with the base fire, Chewbacca will fire his blaster bolts horizontally, and then if you hold in the zoom button, he will shoot them vertically. This is a good way at killing infantry. You will hit them with all three of your bolts, and for the most part, you will insta-kill them, which is great. And then if you hold in the charge button, you can actually shoot more bolts horizontally, and then if you hold in the trigger and you charge it, it will create a more precise cone effect, and you will hit an opponent with 5 bolts really close to each other, kind of like a shotgun. So Chewbacca essentially has 4 different ways that he can fire his crossbow. And then up next we have Yoda. If you did not know, Yoda can dash through blocks. So if you go up against any saber hero and they are blocking against Yoda, if Yoda uses his dash ability, he will go straight through and the opponent will still take damage. Now they actually took this feature away, and then the community had a big fit, and then they added it back to the game. So there's just a heads up, if you are playing as Yoda or if you're going up against Yoda, just know that you cannot block his dash strikes. And then for Yoda's presence can actually do a number of different things. For example, his presence will get you out of any ability. For example, if you are frozen or force choked or pulled or hit with Iden's droid, anything that will immobilize your Yoda, if you activate presence, he will instantly get out of the animation. So if you're being choked by Darth Vader and you activate presence, you will instantly escape the choke, which comes in real handy to making quick escapes. You can also activate his presence while you're doing a dash. That way you can skip the animation. You can sort of get 2 birds with 1 stone. You can dash at an opponent and give yourself extra health. And then when it comes to Yoda's unleashed ability for his force push, you can charge his force push by absorbing different things like blaster bolts, force powers. And one neat trick about this is if you store other force powers, for example, if you store Kylo's freeze or Kylo's pull, that will actually stay with you forever until you activate the unleashed ability. Compared to if you absorb blaster bolts, that will go away over time. So what I like to do is I like to run around, I like to absorb force powers from like Kylo or Vader or whoever, and then I make a quick escape, And then whenever I'm surrounded by a bunch of battle droids, I like to activate a fully powered unleash and kill all of them instantly. So just remember that you can store force abilities forever, and blaster bolts has a limited amount of time. But that is going to do it for all the tips that I have for you guys in this video. I didn't quite get to every single hero on this list, but if you guys would like to see more videos like this in the future, or if you want to see me do individual hero guides, that might be something that I work on here in the near future. But as always, if you guys enjoyed this, please give it a thumbs up. It helps me out. If you're new here, hit that subscribe button. Be sure to check out another video. Follow me on all social media at SwannyPlaysGames. And then if you haven't yet, be sure to check out our Discord. It's a great place to get notified of all future videos and every time I go live. And it's a cool way to just meet and hang out with each other and just to be a part of the community. All those links are found in the description down below, and I will talk to you guys in the next video.
How convenient to have you all together. You saved me the trouble of hunting you down. The First Order will conquer you all. Soon we will reclaim the galaxy. Perhaps you'll take part.